guides, well, not all, yes, almost all, generally come from the local communities. They are experts, therefore they were brought up living off the land, tracking, being able to track, animal prints and so on and so on. There are some guides who are from a South Africa, as in a Western background, but they have been born and brought up in South Africa. So they studied this. To get guiding credentials in all of Africa is very, very, very complicated. It's a very severe, a very long process, a very intensive process. The information that they have to know it's like the Encyclopedia Britannica 6 times over. You as they're driving, you hear a bird call, they know exactly what it is and they can tell you all about it. So you can't just suddenly show up in Cape Town tomorrow and say, I want to be a guide on safari, as you can do potentially in a lot of places on, cruise ships or whatever. And then, you just do the general basics and away you go. These people really, really know the ins and outs. They love what they do. And that comes through very, very clearly when they're taking you out there and they're showing what they do. They absolutely have to work as a team, so that's very important to them. But what I do love to see, as I say, is so many of the community people. So, for example, in the Loisaba Conservancy in Kenya, this is in Samburu land. So Samburu is a relatively small but very ancient tribe, and pretty much all of the guides that are in that area are Samburu. And they really adhere to the old traditions. And you can just feel it oozing out of them that they know, and it's amazing. It's absolutely mind-blowing that when you are out on these game drives, what they see in really what you would never expect to see, and then when they point it out, you're like, oh my gosh, it's as clear as day. It's right there. The rhino's there, but you would never see it. And the other thing that astounds me, is when you do night drives. Because then what they find in night drives is astonishing, in pitch black. And they find leopards and all sorts of amazing things. So the guides are incredibly well educated. There's no question that everybody always talks about how a guide makes the trip. And they just simply never fail when you're on safari. It's really cool. Now, as to your question about sort of who's who, it depends a little bit on where you are in Africa. In South Africa, typically you will have a ranger and a tracker. So the ranger is, the guy that's out there, and he really has the knowledge of the animals. Believe me, the tracker has the knowledge of the animal too, but a lot of times the tracker's English may not be so good, or he's just a bit more. So he usually is really from the local villages and whatever, and he can read. He can see, he can see animal dung, or he can see a footprint, a paw print, and he knows that it was 5 minutes ago or 2 hours ago or whatever it was, and the chances of finding it are fantastic. Let's keep going. Or no, it was here 2 hours ago. It's probably gone. Let's go and look for something else and see what we can find. So it really is. That is actually, the animals are great, but watching them work and how they discover and how they read stuff is really fascinating. And they're very happy to teach you as well. And they do really cool things like, I think most of us would never pick up a termite and eat it. But they encourage you to do that. You'll stop at a termite mound and they'll dig some out. And I've done it myself. And the first time I did it, I was with some friends and they thought I was bananas. And I did it. And so then they did it too. And they're like, we have this great video now, which we still play many years later and laugh at, and I've used it in some of our social media, African travel and so on too. They encourage you to do things like that as well. So it's not just all about the elephants and lions and cheetahs, oh my. It's also about the little things that you normally would never see and find out about, and their incredible knowledge of all of that kind of thing, and just their knowledge of the bush.